YouTube. So today I released my video covering the Trump and Netanyahu peace plan press briefing, where Trump said some pretty astonishing things. Make sure you watch my previous video about it. It's not super long. I wanted to add a point to it that I saw in this video that was just released today, because I noticed that I watched the entire hour-long thing. I sat on the live and waited for it to go live. And I don't recall any talk of dividing the land. Both Netanyahu and Trump were against a Palestinian state. And, I find that interesting because if you watch the previous video, I think that Trump has put himself in a position to be a messiah to Israel. And who just saved Israel from the Palestinian state? The entire United Nations, just about 160 nations last I heard, wanted to unilaterally declare a Palestinian state. And yet who came to save them? Donald Trump. So in this video, they address a parting of the land that I wanted to show you. More for discussion's sake, to see if you agree with this thought. And YouTube's policy about copyright stuff used to be a little more strict, and I haven't really seen how far that's gone lately. So I'm going to play the audio from this piece and show you the map that they were talking about. So have a look.
The sense of optimism is coming, and again, this is like the 1% of press conference or of events that you see President Trump in front of a microphone that we did not have a chance to ask him questions like this. But things are so sensitive and so fragile, they want to wait on the details like that. But the optimism, if your team can put back up the map that we had, the Israelis are going to give up. They are agreeing to give up a little bit of the land that they currently occupy, and you can see it there. They're going to pull back from territory that they currently control. And that is why that kind of a concession is the reason that folks around here think that they could actually be getting really, really close to an agreement. But again,
Israel initially gave away Gaza in 2005, which is the source of this problem to start with. The Palestinians moved in, Hamas moved in, and they just became a thorn in their side and pricks in their eyes, just like Scripture says. In Numbers 33, God said, "You shall dispossess the inhabitants of the land and dwell therein, for I have given you the land to possess it." Later in verse 55, "But if you will not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then it shall come to pass that those which you let remain of them shall be pricks in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and shall vex you in the land wherein you dwell."
So anyways, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
So this is the way I look at it. If Israel gives up any land, that's parting the land. That's a problem. And even if it's 1%, that's a problem. Because to me, it's the same as sin. It only takes one sin to be wrong. So even parting part of Gaza and pulling back part of Gaza to give it to control of international forces or Muslim forces, that's still dividing the land. Now, one question that kept coming up in the previous video comments was, did they say a 7-year peace plan? Well, let's look and see if Trump or Netanyahu said anything about that.
In particular, in and around Gaza, working with the new transitional authority in Gaza, all parties will agree on a timeline for Israeli forces to withdraw in phases. They'll be withdrawing in phases. No more shooting, hopefully, as progress is made toward achieving these goals. Arab and Muslim nations need to be allowed the chance to fulfill these commitments of dealing with Hamas.
If Hamas agrees to your plan, Mr. President, the first step will be a modest withdrawal, followed by the release of all our hostages within 72 hours.
Sorry if you hear construction noises, but I'm not a 501c3 polished preacher that's just trying to get your money. So with the timeline, Trump said that there would be a agreement for a timeline. And I want you to remember, we're dealing with the devil, man. If you were playing poker with the devil, is he going to tell you, hey, I got a full house, bet all your money? Or is he going to tell you, I got a low pair, man. Come on, you got me. Come on. So I think as Christians, we've got this bad habit of thinking that we have prophecy all figured out, and that if it doesn't play out to the letter how we think it's supposed to be, it's false. This isn't it. This isn't real. We're dealing with a guy that yesterday said he was going to make eternal peace forever. He said that. He said that it would, be the first time in thousands of years. And y'all think this isn't the covenant? So look, in Daniel 9:27, when it says he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, show me in scripture where it says that he will say that it's 7 years. I think that's a preconceived idea that he's going to just tell you outright that it's 7 years. Isn't that a dead giveaway? I want to bring to your remembrance that the Jews completely missed their Messiah the first time because they thought they had the prophecies all figured out. Look at this. This is out of John 7. They answered and said to him, Art thou also of Galilee? Search and look, for out of Galilee ariseth no prophet. They were saying there's no prophet out of Galilee. But in Isaiah 9, verse 1, nevertheless, the dimness shall not be as was in her vexation, when at the first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, and afterward did more grievously afflict her by the way of the sea beyond Jordan in Galilee of the nations. Here's the prophecy. The people that walked in darkness have seen a great light, and they that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath the light shined. In Galilee of the nations. Here's a little icing for your cake. Luke 24, in verse 25. O fools, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? In beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. This scripture is after Jesus was raised from the dead, where he appeared to his apostles, his disciples, and had to go back and explain all the prophecies that he fulfilled. The people that he spent his closest time with, 3.5 years, didn't understand the prophecies until after they were fulfilled, until after Jesus came and expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. So to think that we have this preconceived idea that we have prophecy all figured out, example will tell you that the Jews missed it the first time. They thought they knew what they were looking for in other scriptures. They were looking for a Roman conqueror. They were looking for a king to come into Jerusalem. So we got to be careful with this idea that we think we know how this goes. So if we're going to talk about 7-year timelines, let's remember, the Jews are looking at this guy as a Messiah. He just rescued them from the Palestinian state declaration. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in a piece that Tara Shea Lane, listen up, she did a really good compilation of people calling this man the Messiah, so you need to see it.
Listen up.
At the voice, so I went to the Jewish deli, and of course we had the discussion on Trump. And I asked them, who is Trump to you? And you know what they said? Trump is our new Messiah, actually. They want to believe that Trump is the Messiah. What I think is happening here is God using Donald Trump to hasten the coming of the Lord. This is
Trump. Don't take this wrong, but remember I'm Jewish, and a Messiah is, in Judaism, is the person who would bring the one true God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob to the world. A Messiah means a great leader, a great prophet. I believe that Donald J. Trump is a Messiah for what's called the New Jerusalem, which is the United States of America. He was it, and he opened everybody's eyes. That's the only way I could describe him.
You know what that means? He, I believe, is the Mashiach of Edom. But Mashiach is nothing more than an anointed one, right? That completely reverses the order of something. Trump, I believe, is the Messiah of Edom, of Esau. And therefore, he will take them from Yahweh to Yahweh, from someone who afflicts Israel to someone who will assist them and And believe me, he's going to be fabulous with the Jewish people.
And you don't believe is that, this is a quote from him, he says, what I believe is that the one who is going to switch from Esau from persecuting the Jews to Esau who is serving the Jews is Donald Trump.
So just an idea about the preconceived ideas. If Trump is coming in like a messiah to them, he can't just straight off the bat give away Jerusalem. So I think that, we don't understand everything, but with what's going on here, I think this is at a level that is way too high to dismiss. A lot of people are just writing this off. If it's not a 7-year thing, then it's not it. The devil ain't telling you what he's doing. He's trying to come in like a man of peace. So I'm watching like the rest of you. There's major things going on. Everybody's involved. And, Israel's coming to the table. So this looks to me like a covenant with many. And, don't get hung up in the details thinking that if you don't have it like perfectly figured out that this isn't the thing. Because as I showed you before, it's easy to miss it when you think you got this thing all sorted out. In the coming days, there should be an answer from Hamas, and we'll know if Hamas is going to play along or get, bombed out of existence. And then, we should see a lot of people coming to the table to finish signatures and get their picture taken with, Donald Trump, the maybe Messiah, the wannabe. So keep looking. I mean, we're in the last week. I don't think it's a coincidence that we're in the last week. Noah was shut in the ark by the Lord. And then Genesis 7:4 says, 7 days from now will I make the rains pour down on the earth. When I first read it in King James, it didn't quite, add up. For yet 7 days. What does that mean? Every other translation, for after 7 more days, I will rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So we're looking at 7 days before the watch date of the Julian calendar. Are we there yet?